Welcome back, everyone. It's just another day in the life as a military wife. And I was talking to my husband this week about the origin of the reference to Tripoli in regards to the Marine Corps song. And he's not a Marine, and he wasn't sure. We ended up having to look it up. I was right. It had to do with the Barbary pirates. And I don't know if y'all have heard about the Barbary pirates. We're going to talk about that and some other pirates who, have been causing some issues lately. As always, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and this is Life of a Military Wife. So, if that intro seemed a little bit abstract, let's break it down for a second. Piracy, as you all probably can guess, has been going on for a hot minute. I'm pretty sure most everyone has seen Pirates of the Caribbean. Not the most accurate depiction, but it's a depiction that gives people a general idea of what's going on. And piracy is something that the United States was dealing with as a young nation. So we became a country and had a bunch of debt from the Revolutionary War, and we were trying to figure things out. And our Navy was like 12 ships, it was minuscule. Um, we were just figuring things out still and establishing trade and treaties and all sorts of stuff. And so ambassadors were sent out to a lot of major countries to establish trade agreements and different things like that. And there wasn't hegemony of the seas. There was not, um, there was kind of a struggle going between the French, um, the French naval armada, the British, and the Spanish armada. But between those three countries, they pretty much had most of the oceans locked down and secured. And by and large, the United States, because we're a new country, we don't have a lot of diplomats, we're still figuring everything out. We focused on those main countries for trade deals because we figured that would protect our shipping the most. Well, it did and didn't. You see, we had to go past the coast of North Africa through the Strait of Gibraltar to get into the Mediterranean Sea. And several of the kingdoms in North Africa were well known for taking ships hostage, holding their crews, sometimes selling them into slavery, just because they wanted the income. That's how they made income. These kingdoms had legitimized piracy. That was actually baked into the cake economically as a kingdom. And they were these different Barbary kingdoms or states were from modern Morocco down to Libya. And each of them had a different pasha that controlled them or king. And over the space of 6 or so years, we tried deterrence ish, but we didn't have a big navy. We tried paying tribute. We tried sending diplomats. We tried treaties. And for the most part, it worked with most of the pashas. But one of the pashas in Tripoli was particularly ticked off because he felt like he had gotten a worse deal than the other kingdoms. And in all sincerity, he really kind of had. He didn't have as a good of negotiator, and the other kings got better deals. And he felt, you know, like his honor and everything had been besmudged by this and was rather cranky about it all and decided to basically he gave ultimatums. He kept yelling at our ambassador to do this, do that, whatever. And basically warning the ambassador, and the ambassador kept sending letters back to the US saying, "Hey, PS, we've got some issues. This guy's gonna start taking our ships," to the point where the ambassador started telling merchants, "Hey, you know what? If you don't have a guard, don't keep going. This guy means it." Well, he did. He started, the Pasha of Tripoli started taking our vessels hostage and holding the crews hostage and stuff like that. And we had to start negotiating and paying for the release of hostages. And he wanted a tribute, and the tribute wasn't enough. And they tried all these diplomatic channels and appeasing him. And as we started building up our fleet, we started sending more and more people out. But he just, for years, 6 years at least, this problem just continued to escalate to the point where hardly any of our shipping was secure. And it resulted finally in the United States, and it was President Jefferson for a good chunk of this, not the beginning part. He was Secretary of State, I believe, at the beginning. But he ended up getting inaugurated, and this was his first term in office when this all started. And he kept saying, "Let's find a diplomatic solution." I'm not sure but then we'll make them pay if they don't. We just don't have the ability right now. And some say he was stalling for time. Some say that he um, dithered. Unless you were there and on the ground, I guess it's hard to have a complete grasp of what we were capable of doing and when. But we finally found an ex-pasha, somebody who was mounting a resistance against the guy we didn't like, and we sent in the Marines. So the United States Marine Corps was young, and this was their first engagement, their first international engagement. They sent in 8 Marines with 500 locals to quash this, and it was the Battle of Darren against the Pasha of Tripoli, and that was the first engagement of the Marines, the first battle of the Marines, and it was the first time that the United States flag was raised over foreign soil. So, needless to say, we sent in the Marines. We dealt with the situation and we arranged for more favorable trade agreements and secured our shipping. But it took 5, 6 years, partly because we didn't have the ability at the beginning of the conflict. So, fast forward to today. I mean, we've shown in the past Jefferson uh helped build up a navy. We ended up taking that's where from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. That's where that reference to the shores of Tripoli comes from in regards to the United States Marine Corps song. We've done this in the past. That was the origin of the Marines, was taking out pirates. If only we had a defense force or offensive force in our military with the history of dealing with pirates. Because right now we're dealing with the Houthi pirates in Yemen at another strait affecting shipping. Does it feel like deja vu to anyone but me? Huh. Okay. Well, we've tried diplomacy. We've tried talking to Yemen and telling them to, get the Houthis under control. That hasn't worked. We've tried sending in ships to protect commerce. That hasn't really deterred them very much either. We've done very telegraphed minimal strikes on ground locations. That hasn't stopped them. We've now lost 2 Navy SEALs. Not to mention the countless other people who've been affected, hurt, injured, livelihoods destroyed. So, what is currently going on in regards to the Houthi pirates and everything with our government's response to it? And this factors into two of the things that I was discussing last week or a couple weeks ago. Anyway, first of all, the situation with the Secretary of Defense. We now understand why he was not available for 3 days and missing. It turns out he has prostate cancer and is getting that taken care of and recovering, which kind of is concerning considering the situation going on in the Middle East. But let's set that aside. He put out a statement saying that security challenges in the southern Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. He's saying that he was announcing the establishment of Operation Prosperity Guardian, an important new multinational security initiative under the umbrella of the Combined Maritime Forces and the leadership of its Task Force 153, which focuses on security of the Mediterranean Sea. It's about freaking time. Can I even just say that enough? So, in the meantime, we still have Houthi rebels shooting rockets at different shipping, vessels. There was a chemical and oil tanker from the Cayman Islands because we want a chemical and oil tanker being hit by rockets because that's not going to do any harm to the environment. Note the dripping sarcasm. Yeah, they were under attack, so we had to respond. In addition, BP just put out an announcement on Monday or I think this was last Monday. Yeah, last Monday, that it's going to pause all shipment through the Red Sea due to a deteriorating security situation. I already told you Costco was one of the people being affected. A lot of places are having to reroute. The cost of shipping through this region has more than doubled. It's about freaking time. Can we just send in the Marines? I mean, obviously, they know how to deal with pirates. They've done it before. So, I personally think that this is a very good, belated, but good development. And hopefully, unlike with the Barbary pirates, this isn't going to take 5+ years to resolve. And we can use a multinational security initiative and get this under control because I know it's affecting the Brits, it's affecting everyone. So, if we can't put together an international coalition on removing the Houthis from their little issue of disrupting trade, I'm just not sure what we can do anymore. And it's not the military. As a military spouse, I know the military could go in and take care of the situation. And that is what we excel at. We just need politicians who can arrange it with other countries. So let's hope that the Secretary of Defense's office is up to the challenge of helping him organize that from his hospital bed. I'm still not sure. He's probably out of the hospital at this point. I really hadn't dug more into that. Once I found out the situation, I'm sitting there going, okay, that's a serious condition. I don't take that. Those cancer is serious. It's a serious thing. But at the same time, this is a serious situation that's impacting military lives and free trade and in global infrastructure. So, as much as I respect that he is going through a hard time right now, if because of that he's not up to the task, let's get someone else who can because we need this dealt with. This has got to get squared away. And it just blows my mind. I when I was reading through the history, because I had heard people reference the Barbary pirates, and we've dealt with pirates before. We can do this again. And then I started reading the whole thing. This we did this year, and this we did in this year, and this, and I'm like, it took 5 years. I was reading the historical research for 5 to 6 years of this diplomat said this thing and this president wrote it this and this corresponded and this notice was given out to merchant marines in this year and this person was sent at this point and this person was stationed in this place, and I'm sitting there going, okay, when did we shut them down? Because we did. I know we did. Yeah, it took 6 years. So let's hope, because we're not building a navy from scratch anymore, that we can hopefully get this under control in less than 6 years. I mean, you never know when it comes to politicians. But I know that if we sent in the Marines, it would probably be done tomorrow. because I have that much confidence in the United States Marine Corps. I know they know how to do their business. So, previously mentioned, we did unfortunately lose two Navy SEALs in the middle of an operation. They were trying to climb onto a vessel and were killed in action in the Gulf of Aden while boarding a ship on January 11th. And their names are, I want to get this right. It is Chris Chambers and Nathan Ingram. And my heart goes out to their families. I know that this has got to be hard, especially not knowing for so long. Um, it it's a tragedy when we lose any service members, especially in a situation like this. I'm really grateful for the Japanese and one other country they said was helping us look for them. It was, oh, Spain and Japan. Spain and Japan for their assistance in searching for them. That means a lot. And obviously, this is not just an American issue. If Spain and Japan have vested interests, the United States have vested interests, when are we going to step up and say, hey, Yemen, get your act together, get them under control, or tomorrow we take them out? And it's not just us. And yeah, they said they're setting up a multinational task force. Yes, they said they're doing something, and we'll have to see. We will have to wait and see what happens. This needs to be resolved. It's ridiculous. And we don't need to be losing any more service members. Not over this. Hopefully, never over anything, but I know I won't get that wish. So, that's your little history and current events for today. Now, if somebody mentions the Barbary Pirates, you will have a little more information about what they're talking about. And if you ever wondered what the reference to Tripoli was, it was from the first Marines engagement on a foreign soil, and that was where the first United States flag was raised over hoisted, I think was the word the um, article used, hoisted over foreign soil. So, as I've mentioned in the past, this year's goal is to have a little bit more finesse and precision in the formatting and organization of episodes so that you can have a better feel of when the certain episodes that you're most interested will occur and that you're still getting some current event take as well, balancing things as much as possible. I'm working on setting up some collaborations and interviews, and I'm really grateful for the chance I had to take a break and spend some time with family, but just getting back on top of things with the new year. So, thank you for your patience and all of your support. If you're listening to this on Audible, please leave a review, or on any of the devices you're listening or any of the platforms you're listening to. I have been informed that Google Podcast is going to be phasing out, and I'm going to have to figure that out. We'll see if I move the podcast over to YouTube Music or not. That is to be determined. So, lots and lots coming up. But as always, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you're listening to Life of a Military Wife.